Hey, what's up guys, and welcome back to Cooking with Clifton. Today we're going to be starting off with some artisan bread, or better described as crusty bread, though that name isn't as catchy or sexy. Anyways, it's a pretty simple recipe that starts off with flour, a packet of instant yeast, some salt, and a bit of sugar. Right, so we're going to want to start things off by blooming our yeast. Now, you may or may not be familiar with the process of blooming yeast, but essentially just means we're going to go ahead and check if it's alive. To do so, we're going to go ahead and get a quarter cup of warm water that's been heated to about 110 degrees Fahrenheit, to which we're going to add a teaspoon of sugar and our packet of yeast. You're going to want to stir to combine that and let sit for about 10 minutes. If your yeast is alive, it should have risen exponentially and formed a sort of frothy, bubbly sort of mixture. It's kind of hard to describe. You got to look at it to see. And if it hasn't risen like at all, then it's probably bought the farm. You're probably going to need some more yeast. But once your yeast has risen, we're going to be adding 5 cups of all-purpose flour and a tablespoon of salt to the bowl of a stand mixer. Go ahead and mix on the lowest setting for about 30 seconds just to bring everything together. Then we'll be adding a cup and a half of warm water along with our bloomed yeast, bringing the speed up to medium and letting mix for about 8 minutes until a smooth, taut ball of dough has been formed. During the process, you may notice that your dough might be looking either too wet or too dry, which is fine. If it's too wet, just sprinkle in a little more flour. If it's too dry, just drizzle in a small amount of water. And like I said, I'm using a stand mixer, but if you don't have one, you can absolutely use a large bowl. Just be sure to flour your hands generously and bring everything together with, your hands, obviously. Though it might take a little longer, but you will have the added benefit of being able to feel your dough, judge it accordingly. It'll be a lot easier for you to dictate whether or not it's too rough, too shaggy, it's probably nicer, it's probably easier. And after the dough comes together, bring it to a floured work surface and knead for about 5 to 7 minutes just to form the gluten. Now, without getting into the nitty-ditty scientific details, gluten's basically just going to give your bread that soft, pillowy texture that you usually find with homemade or nice artisan bread. So once you finish kneading it, we're going to generously spray the walls of a large bowl with cooking oil. Now, I chose a butter-flavored cooking oil, but if you can use whatever you'd like, it's up to you. We're going to drop our dough in, cover with a clean towel, and let rise in a warm area for an hour. Turn it out onto your counter and knead for just a few more times before we roll it into a ball. After which, I'm going to sprinkle the bottom of my trusty Dutch oven with some cornmeal, add my ball of dough in, cover with the lid, and let rest in a warm place for 1 more hour. Now, before we toss the sucker into the oven, we're going to want to add some slits to the top, just so the heat has somewhere to escape while also allowing the bread to rise more. It also has the added benefit of making it look super fancy. Obviously, I'm not a professional baker, but I did what I can. I just added 3 simple vertical lines down the center. But feel free to get fancy. If you want to do something nice, a nice ornate pattern, by all means, go ahead and do it. Cooking and baking is all about creativity. Let it shine here. Right, then we're going to go ahead and place the lid back on and bake for about 15 minutes at 450 degrees Fahrenheit. After 15 minutes have passed, we're going to reduce the heat to 400 degrees and bake for another 30 minutes. Now, after that 30 minutes have passed, we're going to remove the lid of our Dutch oven and bake for 5 more minutes just to allow that nice, crispy golden brown crust to form at the top. Afterwards, remove from the oven, turn out onto a wire cooling rack just for about 10 minutes so it gets nice and firm and crusty, and then you're done. And that's it. Crusty artisan bread. So, maybe a bit early to be doing a face reveal, but you know, it's cool. Anyways, this is my second video I've ever made. I know not very many people, if any, are gonna see it, but it's I'm looking at the wrong. It's still cool. It's still cool to be able to share this with the internet and maybe like the 2 or 3 people that have asked me to make cooking videos, and you know, it's thank you. And I hope you like what you see, and I hope that, you know, you like, subscribe, or, you know, put out and enjoy my stuff. So, you know, I'm gonna be making fettuccine alfredo soon, so, you know, if that's something that interests you, you know, go ahead and check it out. It should be coming. It should be pretty sweet, pretty cool. And that's it. I don't know how to end these things. Bye.